"You look cold, mister. You can use my blanket." That soft voice cut through the icy night air like a whisper from an angel. He didn't expect kindness that night, not from a stranger, and definitely not from someone who had less than him. But sometimes the poorest hearts are the richest in compassion, and what started as a small gesture beneath a broken street lamp would set off a chain of events that neither of them nor the world would ever forget. Act 1. A man who lost. Everything Mark Donovan sat on the cold concrete bench outside the downtown bus station, his breath visible in the night air. He wore a tailored coat, now dusty, wrinkled, and far from the image of the corporate lion he once was. A week ago, he was the COO of a global marketing firm. Wealth, power, recognition, all his dot, until the phone call, until the board turned on. Him dot, until the scandal untrue, fabricated, but powerful enough to bring him crashing down. Now, he had no job, no title, no home. Just a duffel bag with 2 shirts, a half-charged phone, and a soul too tired to care anymore. He stared at the pavement, people passing him like he didn't exist. And then, she appeared, a small, shivering girl in a ragged hoodie, maybe 15 or 16, barefoot, her cheeks pink from the cold and her eyes wide, alert and kind. She looked at him for a long time, then slowly walked up, holding out a threadbare blanket. "You look cold, mister. You can use my blanket," she whispered. Mark blinked, unsure how to respond. No one had spoken to him all day. "You'll freeze," he murmured, voice hoarse from silence. She smiled. "I've got layers. You don't." And she walked away before he could argue. Act 2. Her name was Lila. The next night, she returned. This time, she handed him half a sandwich and a bottle of water. Still barefoot. Mark took it, guilt stinging his pride. "Why are you helping me?" he asked. She shrugged. "'Cause I've been helped before. Gotta pass it on, right?" He learned her name was Lila. No last name. She'd been on the streets since 13. Group homes, runaways, shelters. No parents, no one to call. But somehow, she hadn't hardened. She hadn't given in to bitterness. She smiled more than he did. Each night, she came back. They talked. About music, books, her dreams. "I want to open a shelter one day. A warm one, with books, music, food, and hugs. Lots of hugs." And slowly, Mark began to thaw, not just from the cold, but from the numbness inside. Act 3. Mark's turn. One evening, Mark noticed something was wrong. Lila didn't show, not the next night either. He searched the block, asked other homeless folks. Finally, someone mentioned a girl being taken away by ambulance 2 nights earlier. Mark's heart dropped. He ran, literally ran, to the nearest hospital. She was there. Pneumonia. Underfed. Alone. Mark sat by her bed, holding her hand like a father. When she woke, she whispered, "Did you use the blanket?" He nodded, tears in his eyes. "You kept me warm, Lila. Now I'm going to do the same for you." Act 4. The comeback. Mark hadn't touched his phone in days. But now he called someone. Daniel Reyes, an old college friend, a venture capitalist, one of the few who believed in him when things went bad. Dan, "I have an idea," Mark said. "It's not about business. It's about changing lives." Mark told him about Lila, about the blanket, about the shame of having millions and still knowing so little about true kindness. They met. Within weeks, Mark had a plan, a proposal, a new mission. Act 5. Lila's home. Lila stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks. When she was released, Mark was waiting, not with a blanket this time, but with keys. To what? She asked. To your new room. Hot meals, books, music, warm hugs, everything you said. He'd rented a transitional apartment space for homeless teens. Lila was the first resident, but it didn't stop there. Act 6. The Warm Haven Project. 1 year later, the Warm Haven Project launched in 5 cities. Mobile shelter units, mental health support, skill-building programs. Every one of them inspired by the things Lila had once mentioned on cold nights. Mark wasn't a corporate king anymore. He was something better, a man with purpose. And beside him, his co-founder, Lila Rivera. She had taken his last name by choice, not through adoption, not through trust. Act 7. Full circle. It was a snowy evening, a charity gala. The project had just won a national award. Reporters, cameras, lights. Someone asked, "Mark, what inspired all this?" He didn't look at the cameras. He looked at the girl sitting in the front row, now 17, confident, strong, smiling in a borrowed dress. "She gave me a blanket when I had nothing," he said. "But she gave me more than that. She gave me direction, hope, a second chance." He paused. Sometimes the people society overlooks are the ones carrying the light. Epilogue. Final whisper. The story ends not in a mansion, or a car, or a promotion, but in a modest room inside a Warm Haven building. Lila tucks a crying 12-year-old girl into bed. As the girl shivers, she hands her a soft fleece blanket. "You look cold," she whispers. "You can use my blanket." And the cycle continues, because real wealth isn't in what we own. It's in what we're willing to give.